Everybody knows social media is bad for society. Can you hear that? No, neither can I. And yet, it's come up so much in the last decade, to the point where, according to the latest statistics, over 14 million Australians use just one website for social media. This is a crazy number to think about our population and the volume that comes up with it. What it's come with, though, is a lot of negative publicity and arguments around whether social media is good or bad for society. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's been a very good thing for society. And the reasons I'm going to do that is I'm going to look at things like how social media is actually bringing us closer together. I'm also going to be looking at how social media helps raise awareness for issues that previously we wouldn't have known about. And finally, I'll finish on my own personal experiences and how it's helped me achieve more in my career. So one of the arguments that often comes up when we discuss social media is that it's actually separating people. We're not talking to each other as much. We're not having those physical interactions. But what the evidence says is this is actually not true. According to a survey that was recently done by the Australian Psychological Society, it found that most people that were using social media were actually increasing their contacts with loved ones and family. What it also found was that most people were using social media for less than 2 hours per day. What we can conclude from this study is that, for one reason, people are actually using social media less than what we think. So it's not taking up a massive part of our life. It's less than 2 hours per day. What we can also conclude is it's helping us spend more time with our friends and family. Now, most people would have to see this as a positive thing, other than those that, don't get on with their in-laws that well. But aside from that, it's showing that people are actually making more contact. Now, additional to this, there was a piece done by Mark Oppenheimer, which was called "Technology is Not Driving Us Apart After All." Now, this is published in the New York Times Magazine. What he found through a study that he'd engaged in his piece was that they sort of surveyed people in a park, believe it or not, on a set of stairs, where they were looking at the social interactions they were having over a long period of time. And what they found is as social media got bigger and as it increased, there was no changes in people's physical interactions. So the theory that, we're becoming these zombies and we're on phones, we're not talking to each other, what this study found was that was actually completely false. People were having the same interactions, if not having more physical interactions with each other. What we can conclude from these issues is that what's happening is social media is actually being used to help people arrange physical interactions, and it's making it easier for people to do that, which is actually increasing the amount of contact we're having with one another. Now, another argument that comes up is that social media is only evil. There's bad things on it. We talk about bad topics, cyberbullying, these other ideas. But let's have a think about what social media does from a positive perspective. And what it does is raise awareness for issues that we're unaware of. So there was another study done recently, and it was called the Pew Research Internet Study. And what it found that 60% of adults with chronic illness are active internet users, and most of them were using social media. What the study also found was these people with chronic illnesses, they were using social media to meet other people with these illnesses and discuss the problems they were having, and also giving them an outlet to speak about their issues and what was going on. Now, from a personal, individual perspective, this has to be seen in a positive manner. So we can conclude that from that perspective. On a larger point of view, another good example is recently the ALS Bucket Challenge. Now, if you're unaware of it, unless you're living under a rock in 2014, people poured buckets of cold water on themselves. I know it sounds ridiculous, there's critics everywhere, and there was a whole lot of funny blooper videos, but what actually happened from that was, according to Money Magazine, over $100 million was raised for charities that help people with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Now, I had no idea what that was beforehand, and I'm sure that you didn't either. But what this proved was social media has power to help the people in our society that need it most. So it's not evil and it's not bad. It's actually helping these people and making them better. Finally, I want to finish on my own personal experience. Through social media, I've been able to connect with people from a creative perspective and increase my work as a journalist and have it published and have more people view it. Now, this is going to be seen as a positive thing as well. It makes it easier for me to connect with others and get creative around what I'm doing. This was further identified by Dr. Harrington in his lecture in week 6, where he said that creativity and communication were not invented by the internet, of course, but websites and online services can certainly help amplify and connect those activities. So to conclude, what I've stated is that social media is actually bringing people more together. They're having better physical interactions. What I've also said is that social media is helping people in our society that need it most. All of these points prove that the statement that everybody knows social media is bad for society is completely wrong.